Get the popcorn ready, ladies and gentlemen. We're playing with the big boys now. Super Mario Bros. 3's legacy is immeasurable. Not only is it a prime example of what a good Mario game should be, but what a good video game should be. And it's considered by many to be the peak of 2D Mario. We're not talking about that today. I love this game to death, and so does millions of others, but comparing it with the modern gaming eye to the standards of today, how does it hold up? So without further ado, let's play Super Mario Bros. 3! Just 1 minute.
1 hour later. 2 hours later.
Had to ignore the top loader, I said. Wanted to go for the more iconic look, I said.
3 hours later.
What? At least it's in HD. This is Super Mario Bros. 3.
Mario! Mario! Mario!
He's back.
By the late 80s, Mario's popularity had skyrocketed, so much to the point where he was considered more popular than Mickey Mouse. He had a show, cereal, toys, and a hit series of games. He had it big. And in 1988, Nintendo released the fourth entry in the series, Super Mario Bros. 3. Unfortunately, North American audiences would have to wait 2 more years before they could play it, but when it came over there, it was an event. Remember The Wizard? That old movie that was just a big Nintendo product placement in disguise? Well, though the movie has many flaws, one thing that definitely was not a flaw was North Americans' first look at the glorious, the beautiful, the pixelated goodness known as Super Mario Bros. 3. Safe to say, people were hyped. Fast forward to today, nobody cares about The Wizard, but a lot of people care about Mario 3. And it's crazy to think an 8-bit game that's almost 40 years old, good lord, is still considered by many to be the peak of 2D Mario. I somewhat fall into that category. While I personally like some games more, I wholeheartedly agree that Mario 3 definitely had an important mark on the series. So enough of the chit-chat, cue the gameplay footage and fade to the next section. We open the game via curtain rising and we see our heroes Mario and Luigi as they play around showing off some of the new stuff like holding shells and going behind the background? Yeah, as if the presentation was a giveaway. This is a stage play, which wasn't confirmed until 2015 by Miyamoto, but regardless of that, this gives us a taste as to what this game has to offer. 2 players back, but this time it's different. Instead of dying to swap turns like in 1, in 3, whenever you die or beat a level, you swap turns. This may seem small, but it makes the game so different from single player. Now you can either work together to beat all the levels, or you can race to the end to claim all the glory. Well, what's the goal, you may ask? Well, Bowser's back, and surprise, surprise, he wants Peach's, Peach. But he takes a different approach this time. He sends his kids to take over the neighboring kingdoms, baiting Mario and Luigi away, so then he kidnaps Peach while they're away. Bro got the Einstein levels of thinking here. The Koopalings made their debut in this game, and there's been a huge scuffle about whether they are Bowser's actual kids. Nintendo says they're adopted, but it wasn't that way in the manual and in the TV show. I personally don't care. Terrorism is terrorism regardless of the familial affiliation. So Mario and Luigi go around the kingdoms to stomp the Koopa kids and save the kingdoms. Pressing start, we see an immediate new mechanic, a world map. The levels are spread out across the land in a board game-like fashion. You have an ultimate destination, so you have to conquer the levels to get over there, beat the boss, and save the kingdom. There's many different kinds of levels and areas to see. First, you have your typical left-to-right side-scrolling levels, a new type of level of the auto-scrolling variety, spade spaces that contain a roulette game that gives you extra lives if you complete a full picture, toad houses that let you pick a random item from 1 to 3 chests, fortresses that act as a blockade that you have to beat in order to unlock gates on the overworld, and it gives you a taste of the more difficult platforming challenges. enemy mini-fights that give you an item if you beat them, and finally airship levels, an auto-scrolling level that puts you through some of the more difficult platforming obstacles and they have a boss at the end. And then there's the secret stuff. There's these end card icons that appear every 80,000 points you earn. It's a matching game where you have to guess which cards have items, coins, or 1-ups that match. If you fail, don't worry, because the next card you get, your matched cards will be saved, and it resets to a different pattern once you match them all. There's the white toad houses that appear whenever you collect a certain number of coins on specific levels. I don't want to bore you, so here's a list of all the levels and numbers of coins you need.
Thank you so much.
They give you P-Wings in the odd-numbered worlds and anchors in the even-numbered worlds. And then there's the treasure ship. Getting this thing to appear is a frickin' doozy. Get your pencils and paper, folks, and listen up. Here's what you gotta do. This is a long list, so I decided to take it from the Mario Wiki, and here's what you have to do. The player must be in either World 1, 3, 5, or 6. A wandering Hammer Brother must be on the world map. Mario or Luigi must finish a stage with a coin total ending in a multiple 11. Zeros don't count. The 10 digit of the player's score must match a multiple of 11, i.e. if the coin total is 11, the 10 digit must be 1. If it's 22, then the 10 digit's gotta be 2, and so on. Each second left on the timer awards the player 50 points. The timer must be stopped on an even number, so the number of points received is a multiple of 100. Alternatively, an odd number works if the score is 50 points off from the correct multiple. Yeah. Anyway, if you're playing 2 players and one player selects a space that both players are occupying, they'll play a mini-game in the style of the OG Mario Bros. Arcade game against each other to get the next turn. You can also sabotage each other, and if you really want to rub salt in the wound, you can steal each other's cards. Oh wait, the cards. Oh yeah, at the end of each level, instead of going down a flagpole or being vored by a hawkhead...
What?
Yeah, I still can't get over that. What the duck was that? But anyway, in this game, you hit a flashing square that contains a card. If you collect 3 of a kind, you'll get 1-ups depending on what kind of card you got. A 2-up for 3 mushrooms, a 3-up for 3 fire flowers, and a 5-up for 3 starmen. If you don't get a match, you'll just get a 1-up. How generous. But yeah, you can steal each other's cards in the minigame I mentioned earlier. You thought Mario Party was the first game in the series that started ruining people's friendships? Nah guys, this was it. Lastly for this section, how about that music? Oh boy, Koji Kondo really brought his A-game with this one. Every world has their own music and they're all great, with my favorites being World 4, World 6, and World 7. Great range all around. The overworld theme is awesome, and this time Kondo really took advantage of the DPCM channel, which was a sound channel on the NES that allowed for very brief real-life sound sampling, and was mostly prominently used for the bongos. The classic underground theme is back. The underwater theme is just as blissful as ever, the airship theme is foreboding and tense, the minigame music is boppin', the Hammer Bro battle theme is freaking awesome, and the boss themes deliver as always for being exciting and catchy. And that finale, wow! This ending theme is fantastic, probably my favorite track in the whole game. As always, you have power-ups to help you along your journey. The mushroom and star return and the fire flower is back. Oh, how I missed you so, fire flower. And new to this game is, well, a lot of items. So let's do a lightning round. The super leaf, grow a tail and ears. It's not weird. Now you can fly for a bit after running to gain enough speed. The music box, it puts enemies on the overworld to sleep, which allows you to avoid fighting them. Huh, that's the Super Mario Bros. 1 theme. Nice. The P-Wing, you can fly forever for 1 level, save them up for later, then only find out by the end you still had 7 left and you never used it because you wanted to save them all. Happens to the best of us. The frog suit, ribbit, everybody. You can swim underwater better, but now you look like an idiot on land. The Tanuki suit, Japanese raccoon dog, in case you didn't know what a tanuki was. Same as the super leaf, but now you can turn into a statue for a few seconds to avoid getting hit by holding down and B. Where's the big ball? 0 out of 10, worst game ever. The Hammer Bros suit, the best suit in the game. You look awesome, you can throw hammers at almost everything, even Thwomps and Boos and Bowser. You can duck to block projectiles, plus you get a free tan? I love this thing. The Cloud, you can skip a level, but you have to beat the one after that, because if you don't, you'll go back to before the one you skipped. Hammer, use this to break rocks on the overworld map to access secrets or toad houses. And then there's the Warp Whistle, which allows you to access the Warp Zone. Hold on, that's the Zelda whistle theme. sneaky move, Kondo. You pull a Simon's Quest and get taken to the warp zone, which allows you to skip to other worlds. Use 2 in a row and World 8 is up for the taking. All of these items you collect are stored in an inventory that you can access on the world map by pressing B. You can hold up to 4 rows worth of items, so don't worry about running out of room. The worlds you travel to all help cement the standard Mario themes like grass, desert, water, sky, ice, and lava. The only worlds that are truly unique compared to the other ones is Giant Land and Pipe Land. These themes to my knowledge don't appear in any other game, so this game makes them solely unique. In total there's... wait, what? Is that right? On NES? Oh, okay. So apparently, there's 90 levels. Holy programming, Batman. That's a lot for a platforming 8-bit game. The levels are smaller to compensate for that, which may be a shame to some, but it means most of them don't overstay their welcome, and they're still well designed, mostly. Pretty much all the enemies from the first game return, but no enemies from 2 come back, which is a shame. Bye, Phanto, my beloved. In addition, this game introduces a lot of familiar faces that have also become iconic to the series, like Booze, Thwomps, Dry Bones, Big Bertha, Fire Bros, Spikes, Fire Snakes, Chain Chomps, which, as a side note, it's funny that Miyamoto based this off an experience he had with a dog, Jellyfish. And just to be random for a second, there's also Boo Rectangles, Sentient Blocks, Chernobyl Waffles, and the Stinking Sun. Now for the ones causing all the pandemonium. The ruler of each kingdom had their magic wands stolen and they were transformed by the Koopalings. So it's time for the airships. When you get to the end, you have to face against a Koopaling in order to get the wand back. Larry, Morton, and Iggy jump and shoot magic, Wendy shoots rings that bounce across the walls and ceiling, Roy and Ludwig can shake the ground, which causes you to be stuck if you're on the floor when it happens. They also bounce around a bit after you jump on them, so be careful. And Lemmy rides a bouncy ball like a little goober, and he shoots balls at you. But you can bounce off of them, so I'm sure you'll be fine. After beating them, they drop the wand, and after that you fall back to the castle, and the king is transformed back to their former self. As a side note, if you're wearing a suit power-up, they'll tell you something different other than a thank you. You receive a letter from Peach after each world where she either tells you to be careful of certain enemies or gives you hints to find secrets. She even gives you a power-up attached to the letter. Thanks, Bae. After beating World 7, the letter you receive is from Bowser, who informs you he pulled a epic gamer move on you and kidnapped Peach while we were stomping as kids. Okay, I already didn't like this guy because he wanted to try the same tactic again, but the fact that he sent me on a wild goose chase only to one-up me, and then he had the nerve to call me out like that in the form of a written letter? Now it's personal, Bowser.
You take me to him! Take me to the son of a bitch!
Our journey's end takes us to Bowser's home turf, Darkland. And the tension is high here, guys. You have to deal with unskippable tank, boat, and plane levels, hands that give Mario a reach around, darkness, skulls, lava, candles, and a big honking castle. This place is a maze of madness, but after rummaging around, we find Bowser, and he wants to stomp you. So make him stomp his cake into the floor, and eventually he'll fall in defeat. Badunk! How is he not effing dead? We then rescue Peach, who...
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
And that's the game. Now this game is overall very polished and well made, but even a gem like you has flaws, Mario 3. For starters, let's talk about the bosses. I'm seeing repeats here. I know it's not as bad as 1, but it really wouldn't have made it that hard to make them all unique fights. I say as someone who doesn't know how game development works, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. But what I won't give a pass on is there's no save feature. Not even passwords? Okay, well let me add to that. I understand adding a battery to the save would have made the game more expensive, and not that many people would buy it. But passwords were right there! And I know there's gonna be some people saying, Kade, wait, the warp whistles, you just use the warp whistles and you go back to where you were in minutes. Yeah, but your items, lives, and progress don't carry over. And speaking of the warp whistles, that reminds me of another flaw. The game is also a little cryptic, and as far as I know, the game doesn't tell you that you can go behind the background after ducking on these white platforms for a few seconds, and that by flying up here takes you to another one, and by breaking this very specific rock on World 2 opens the secret to find the third whistle. Okay, well it does, but it doesn't tell you about breaking the rock. And the one that says to go to the darkness at the end of the third world? You meant level, right? Right? Why is it that this game, and only this game, the mushroom moves in a different direction depending on where you hit the block? I'm always expecting it to go right because that's what they do in every other game, but when I hit it there and it goes to the left, why only this game? If you die on single player, you have to start the whole world again, which can be a bit of a pain, and the game's difficulty can be a bit lopsided. Worlds tend to flip-flop between being short and easy to long and kind of annoying, like going from World 3 to 4 or 6 to 7 to 8. The 1-up minigame is also a little finicky. You have to stop a little early in order to get the picture you want. I'd rather just be instant, which Mario 2 USA did with the slot machine, so I know it's possible for them to have done that. Bowser's also not that hard of a fight. You can literally duck and he won't hurt you. What the hell? I also wish they used Karibo's shoe for more than just one level. It was fun to bounce in a big boot. I want more big boot, Nintendo! Why must you take away the things I love? It's hard to imagine a game this old has remained so beloved to the series, but I can see why. The team knew they had a winning formula and they saw to improve on it and make something so ambitious for the hardware. Selling nearly 20 million copies, Super Mario Bros. 3 set a standard for platformers for years, and it kept Mario's reputation high, and now the series is a juggernaut which the likes we haven't seen before. So Super Mario Bros. 3, I thank you for your service as a great pastime, an example of being a great video game. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, and look on to the future with your plastic head held high. As for the future of RetroView, the NES Mario games are done with. I won't be tackling the other games in the series for a bit because I wanted to focus on other NES games first. We'll go up generation by generation, but for now, let's focus on a legend that tells of a legendary game, whose legendary status in the industry is stuff of legend. Zelda 1's next, motherfucker!